Hi, in this video, we're going to briefly go over the financial review module so that you know how to best utilize this to ensure that your close gets done more efficiently and more accurately. To start right now, what we're going to look through is for close period for December of 2024, which we just put in the state range. We're going to do it on the cash basis, and our business entity type is 1120S, or small business corporation. This can be changed by going within your settings, changing your legal entity type. Another thing you want to do is make sure that under the accounting section that you have your uncategorized transaction or clearing accounts organized here. This helps to make sure that if there's any accounts that you need cleared out before you close your books, you would put it here and we would flag it if there are any transactions left in the account during this period. So right now we have that all set up. This is not an e-commerce business, but if it was, we could toggle on the Shopify feature and be able to have that mapping to ensure that your Shopify data is being imported properly within QuickBooks. But for this one, we don't have it. One of the other areas that we do is we allow you to create some custom rules. So while we're working with adding additional integrations, at the time, you might know that there's certain parameters of your business that you want to monitor that we might not necessarily know. A good example for that is you might want to make sure that your gross revenue, your gross margins are above 50%. Right here, what we did is we created add rule and put in the different parameters to be able to add custom rules. So for the gross margin calculator, let's just look at this. All we did is add the name, description, and then the rule, how we set it up is we're saying that total income, the total during this period, needs to be more than 2 times cost of goods sold, which would give you that 50% gross margin. So it will look into the total income general ledger line item as well as a summation of all the cost of goods sold accounts to be able to tell you if that check passes or not. And then we also have credit collection fees, saying straight fees should never be above 4% of revenue. So we would have this mapped to here. Let's go credit collection fees. Total should be less than 4% of what your total income is. We'll just save that right there. We improved upon it. And then we have just one other rule for cash monitor, ensuring that we have 1 month's worth of expenses, which is done by looking at the summation of the total bank accounts and making sure that they are more than the expenses during the period. We also have these default rules set up. So we're making sure that we're checking your checking and credit card reconciliations, that they are done properly and up to date. We're looking at your open balancing equity. This is a general ledger account that you really shouldn't be using, but that QuickBooks has as a default. So we want to look into that. Undeposited funds. If your undeposited funds balance is above 0, we just want to flag that so that you can review it. Where this could happen is, sometimes you're saying that, great, we received a payment, you're putting it to undeposited funds, but you forgot to map it to a deposit. So those are things that you want to monitor to make sure that your revenue is not double counted. We also make sure that nothing is within the uncategorized assets general ledger account, your clearing accounts, your uncategorized transactions. And we want to make sure that for S Corps, you are only using the proper equity accounts. So that is showing that, that is not compliant. So that's what it's saying. You are not a partnership, so you shouldn't be using the partner's contribution general ledger account, etc. And we will monitor that. Once everything is set up, you simply click the Run button. We'll right now go back within QuickBooks to try to grab some of your data, which won't take longer than a minute. And it pulls back your results. What it's showing us right now is after doing the review, we passed about 50% of the rules. We can see that we failed some up here. So if we want to look into this, we can click Expand All, which will expand our general ledger accounts. What it's showing right here is from a hierarchy. We fail all of these because we had this TD bank account. It's saying we failed. Let's click Details. So what it's saying is we're trying to do a review through the end of December. However, the account is only reconciled through November, and we also have 13 unclear transactions that need to be reviewed. So you can view your unclear transactions here. That will try to look into it. And here are the ones that are uncleared. on that end. And you could also view all the transactions during this period. If for some reason we would not want to do this in this circumstance, but for some reason, if you ever wanted to override this, you could click override of the rule and just be test override. Click that, okay. And now you'll see that all of these rules passed. We would then be able to look at here and see that who wrote the override for it and what comments they left in case we did not think that was accurate on that end. There are other general ledger accounts where there are no rules being put in here, so we are not monitoring anything on these general ledger accounts for the time being. Let's just collapse that. We could also look through, some of these other areas that might have failed. We're looking at, your current liabilities that failed because this credit card was not reconciled properly as well. Then let's look at the income statement side of things. So we could see that the expenses section, this failed right here, one of these rules, because under your uncategorized expenses, which is being mapped to a clearing account, we can look and says, please reallocate the transactions that are listed here within your uncategorized expense account. Once you change those, you'll just be able to see once these rules are passed, we overrode this one, that you'd get a higher percentage. And so that will show you how you really do not want to close your books unless you're 100% accurate on everything on that end. And if you easily just go to the all companies section, you'll be able to see when the last financial review was completed, what the percentage was. You can then go with here, go to your financial review, see the history, and you can see some different areas on when these things were completed or not. So that should be a good overview to be able to help you understand how to use the financial review module. Hope you found this helpful. And if you have any additional questions, just reach out to us directly.